Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh and this is your Thursday, June 18th stimulus update. So in this video we're going to be discussing the first stimulus check because yes, unfortunately there are still millions of people out there that haven't received their first stimulus payments. And then we're also going to be talking about the second stimulus check, any updates with the second stimulus check. And then we're going to be touching briefly as well on the possibility of us actually receiving $2,000 in our next stimulus checks. Finally, we're going to be moving on to the possibility of us receiving a $4,000 travel tax credit where we can receive $4,000 in tax credits to explore America. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. So before I get into this video today, if you wouldn't mind real quickly giving this video a like, giving me a big thumbs up, it really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you and hopefully helping other people like you. So if you could do that real quickly, then I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below letting me know whether or not you received your first stimulus payment yet. It really just creates a good conversation and lets me and others know whether or not you received your first stimulus payment. Alright, so I'm going to start out this video by talking about the first stimulus checks that went out. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there are still millions of people who have not yet received their stimulus payment. And these people are all completely eligible. So if you haven't received your first stimulus payment yet, hang in there, you're not alone, they have not forgotten about you. Just continue checking the payment portal in the meantime, and that will eventually update. Now, if you're receiving payment status not available, like I said before, all that means is that the IRS has not yet scheduled a delivery date for you. In the meantime, if you want to try something new, you can always try typing your physical street address in all capital letters, or you can try abbreviating your street address. What I mean by that is if you live on a drive, abbreviate drive for DR. If you live on a lane, abbreviate LN for lane. So if you tried abbreviating your street address and you tried capitalizing your street address and neither method works and you're still receiving payment status not available, that simply means that the IRS has not yet scheduled a delivery date for you. So you can just continue checking every single day and you will definitely receive a date. Remember, you are definitely eligible for these stimulus payments as long as you're earning less than $99,000 as a single filer or earning less than $198,000 if you're filing as married, and as long as you don't have past due child support and as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax returns, you're eligible and you definitely will receive the payment. So just keep checking the payment portal and you will eventually receive a date. Now, as far as the second stimulus payment goes, we're still looking at August or September at earliest in terms of receiving a second stimulus payment. Like I've mentioned before, and like you've probably already seen, Mitch McConnell and the Senate aren't even looking to touch a second stimulus bill until they get back from their 2-week recess. With all that said, the earliest a bill could get passed would be late July whenever they get back from their recess. And the bill would have to be bipartisan, which would mean that the Democrats in the House would have to be on board with this bill as well. Now, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, Trump is really beginning to push his $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Now, this is something that the Democrats have also been wanting for a long period of time. Maybe not $1 trillion, but they have been pushing for something along the lines of $500 billion. So just about half of that. So the good news here is that in the beginning, Mitch McConnell in the Senate initially just wanted to spend $1 trillion at most. And on the flip side of things, the House of Representatives and the Democrats, they wanted to spend around $3 trillion as you saw in their HEROES Act. So we had a pretty wide gap in there. And now recently Trump is coming out with $2 trillion. So we're getting a little bit closer. So I would say anywhere between 2 and 3 trillion is what the next stimulus bill will be. And so now that we're looking at something between 2 and 3 trillion dollars, there should be more than enough wiggle room for a second stimulus payment. At this point, both the Democrats and the Republicans are both on board for another stimulus bill. So now all they have to do is negotiate and figure out how much money is allocated to each purpose. Now, in my opinion, I believe that each piece of legislation should have its own individual bill. What I mean by that is if we're wanting to send out additional stimulus checks to the American people, that should have its own bill. If we're wanting to send additional aid for small businesses to stay afloat, that should have its own bill. We shouldn't be combining all these different pieces of legislation into one bill. That just makes it much more difficult to pass. And if the Democrats and the Republicans are both on board with sending out additional stimulus payments to the American people, I'm not sure why they hold up the additional stimulus checks to the American people while they negotiate over their other pieces of legislation. So in my opinion, Congress should pass a bill right now where each American should receive additional stimulus payments, and then they can go back to the drawing board and negotiate over the other pieces of legislation. Just makes too much sense, right? Alright, so moving right along. So you may have also heard about the possibility of us actually receiving $2,000 stimulus payments and not just $1,200. And while it is true that Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Ed Markey are pushing for $2,000 stimulus checks, the chances of that actually happening are pretty low. So the HEROES Act at the House of Representatives, which is controlled by the Democrats, they passed that at just $1,200 stimulus payments. And most other Democrats are not on board with sending out $2,000 stimulus payments. And we're not just talking about a one-time $2,000 stimulus payment here. This would be an ongoing monthly deal where each American would be receiving $2,000 per month, retroactive March 2020, and they would continue to receive it every single month until 3 months after the pandemic is over. And who's to say when the pandemic will actually be over? So this could be going on for a long period of time. So for single individuals, they would receive $2,000. For married couples, they would receive $4,000. And for each dependent you have, you would also receive an additional $2,000 as well, up to 3 dependents. So if you have a married couple who has 3 children, they're going to be receiving $10,000 per month. That's $120,000 per year. That is insane. That's crazy. And that's exactly why even the other Democrats can't even get on board with this bill, because it's just too much. The price tag on this bill is just too much. And there's no way you can get both the Democrats and the Republicans on board with a $2,000 check on an ongoing basis. Now, Andrew Yang is also a proponent of these $2,000 stimulus payments, and he's been a big proponent of UBI, or Universal Basic Income, for a long period of time right now. In fact, if you watched any of the Democratic elections, you can probably remember pretty much any question that Andrew Yang was asked, he would answer the question in a way to mention his freedom dividend. So he was really trying to push his universal basic income, his freedom dividend ideas out there. And his idea is to give each American $1,000 per month on an ongoing basis, regardless of their income. Now, the pros of doing this is that it's proven to make people both happier and healthier. There's going to be less stress. They may not have to worry about their bills as much. They may not have to take on a second or third job to pay off all their bills. They should be able to get more sleep because of doing so. And on the flip side of things here, the cons of this is that it could possibly give people less motivation to work, and it could possibly also cause inflation. And if inflation does occur, it could cause the prices of goods to increase, which could pretty much offset the $1,000 per month that Americans would be receiving. Now, even though universal basic income has been trialed on a smaller scale in certain countries, it's hard to say whether or not those trials have been successful or not. Some experts have come out and said those trials were extremely successful, and it's something that we should be doing in more countries, while other experts are coming out and saying that those UBI trials have actually failed, they're a bad thing, and it's something that we shouldn't be trying in other countries. All right, moving right along to the also exciting Explore America tax credit. So the Explore America tax credit could potentially be a part of the next stimulus bill. In the Explore America tax credit, it could give tax credits up to $4,000 on things such as theme parks, restaurants, flights, hotels, and other things like that. The Explore America tax credit would cover up to 50% of a family's expenses on vacations through the year of 2021. And while this would be an excellent way to help out the hard-hit hospitality industries, you have to wonder how many people will actually have the money to be able to travel after this pandemic is all over. And for those people who are actually able to travel, for those people that actually have the money to travel, they may have had the money anyway, so you might be actually helping the wrong people here. This will be something that I may touch base a little bit more in a future video. Alright, so I'm going to wrap up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any questions for me in this video, feel free to leave them in the comments section below, and I will try to answer some of the more popular ones in the next video. So the first question I'm going to answer today is from Shirley. Shirley says, does one have to receive a payment date on irs.gov before you get your money? Or could it come without the payment portal saying so? All right, thank you so much for that question, Shirley. So it is rare, but some people never get an update through the payment portal, yet they still receive their direct deposit in their bank account. So I would still strongly encourage you to be checking your bank account every single day just to see if something is there. But 99% of the time, people will receive a payment date through the payment portal before they actually receive their payment. All right, so the next question today is from Pamela. Pamela says, hey Josh, good morning. I didn't get my stimulus check today. Direct deposit of 20 plus years. You keep saying check the payment portal. I'm on Social Security since 2010. It says I don't have to do anything. When I tried the portal, it says no information available. Please help. Thanks for all you do. All right, thank you so much for that question, Pamela. So you are correct. There is nothing that you have to do. You're automatically eligible for this stimulus payment as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return, and as long as you don't have something like past due child support that could potentially offset your stimulus payment. You're definitely eligible. So in the meantime, just continue checking the payment portal. You could try typing your street address in all capital letters. Sometimes that can help fetch a date, but most likely they just haven't yet scheduled a delivery date for you, and there are still millions of people who haven't gotten paid, so you're not alone. Just continue checking the payment portal, and you will definitely eventually receive a date. All right, so the last comment I'm going to go over today is from Kim. Kim says, Josh, I hear that only people working are getting a second stimulus check. Is that true? If so, I don't think that's fair. All right, thank you so much for that comment, Kim. And no, that's not correct. There actually hasn't been a second stimulus bill passed, so it's hard to say who will be eligible and who won't be eligible. But I would have to think that everyone who was eligible in the CARES Act should also be eligible in the next stimulus bill. So everyone should receive it, whether they're working or whether they're not working. There will probably be some type of income requirement, though, where if you're earning more than, say, like $99,000 per year as a single filer, then maybe you won't be eligible for another stimulus check. All right, so at this point, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Once again, guys, if you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. At the moment, I am posting daily stimulus payment updates. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.